Of all of the mental health conditions that we can catch visually, if you allow me some air quotes, it's anxiety. So anxiety is psychologically contagious, which means we can become anxious just by watching other people become anxious. And if we see people running to the store and they're, going through the meat section, they're going through the toilet paper section, they're getting the handy wipes and all this kind of stuff, then we think to ourselves, we better get some. I'm not going to get left out. And we start elbowing, and then it gets into this really like a mob mentality where when emotions are up here, guess what happens to our thinking? It goes down. Okay? So our ability to think clearly and rationally does decrease the more our emotions go up. So the more we stay calm, the more reasonable we stay as well. Really good ways to deal with anxiety are to be very self-reflective. And I know when we say take care of yourself, that kind of sounds like an easy thing to do. But sometimes when anxiety levels are really high, we want to do things that are fairly simple, like learning to breathe appropriately. And that sounds like, well, we all breathe and we don't even think about it. But there are certain types of breathing that actually ramp up our anxiety. So when you take deep, slow breaths and you slow down, even if it's just for 10 seconds, 10 or 15 seconds can really help. Now, sometimes people say, I don't have time to do all that stuff. Well, do you have 10 seconds? It helps. And it helps us to feel more relaxed, what we say is centered or more aware of what's happening and not getting too ahead of ourselves. That goes back to breathing techniques, to being mindful, sometimes literally closing your eyes for just a few seconds, getting your breath, even giving yourself helpful messages like, I'm relaxed, I'm okay, I'm gonna be fine. It helps. One of the things that we can do as caregivers, or those of us who are caregivers and may love caregivers, is that to know what your limits are, what you can control. Okay, so we can't control this virus necessarily right now, but you can control how much you wash your hands. You can control how much distance you have from other people. Things that you do have some way to have a say-so of, to be mindful of that. There's such a value in two ways to give back. One is the act of giving is so beneficial, and it helps us to feel helpful and hopeful. The act of receiving, which for some of us can be hard to do, to receive assistance and help is beneficial. Both things are good. And even if it's something like a text, a phone call, a handwritten card, which is, sometimes those go by the wayside. I love to get something handwritten. So that can be very helpful too. In addition, really practicing having a structure and a schedule is important because it helps create a feeling of safety and sameness. And saneness, you can say an N or an M. So for example, even those who have been asked to work remotely, I would suggest getting up at your usual same time, actually putting on your regular work clothes. Okay, so you want to create an environment as now I'm at work, but when you're done with that, you change your clothes and your attitude can change a little bit. You want to still have that separateness from the two.